And I'm back. And what I'm doing here today is I'm going to put a new lower control arm on the driver's side of this 2006 Mazda 5. Now, I was in here the other day and I see where this ball joint right here, the ball joint has slipped out of the lower control arm. So they're pressed in and looks like that's let go. The ball joint itself might still be okay, but it's not functioning well if it's not secured into the control arm. So the price for a ball joint is $60 and the price for a delivered control arm was $80. So I'm just going to change the whole control arm. That way I get new bushings on the back there too. See these bushings? There's a bushing here, there's a bushing here, and the new control arm comes with a ball joint. All right, you see how that's attached there? It's pressed in. Okay, so there's a couple things we're going to do here. I just took the brake rotor off, get it out of the way. The brake caliper, the brake rotor, I removed those, and I'm just going to undo this bolt over here. That's a cinch bolt. This is a split knuckle at the bottom here, so I'm going to take that bolt out, and I've already started removing. There's 3 bolts holding the back of the control arm in. There's one there on the end, and there's 2 underneath. There's one with my wrench on it and one beside it. So I'm going to take those out. It's a pretty quick job if the bolts come out easy. Get the vehicle blocked up safely. Don't get under a vehicle unless it's secure. Okay, let's get this. Let's get these bolts out. Okay, so I got that nut off there. A little bit of PB blaster and let it sit, and then I put a wrench on one side and socket on the other. And see, my wrench is still hanging on there. So that bolt's got to come right out because it sits in this little groove here. Right there, see that groove? At the top of the ball joint, right here. And that's what holds the ball joint up in the knuckle. Okay, I got that bolt all the way out. I'm just going to give that lower control arm a tap and see if it'll come out. Okay, so I got a ball joint splitter, often known as a pickle fork tool. It's just a fork, and you can hit on the back of it with a hammer. I've got it sitting in there on between the ball joint and the knuckle. Okay, let's see if we give that a tap or two, if it's going to separate. Okay, so I got that lower control arm out. I hit it hard enough between here with the pickle fork. Then what I did was I took this bar and I put it down between the split and the knuckle, and I hit it with a hammer. And then I hit the bottom of this lower control arm with the sledgehammer. Actually, I went and got the big gun out here. I'd been using that. So sometimes a bigger hammer does work. So anyway, now that I got the lower control arm out, you can see that that ball joint was in fact shot, and not only shot, but it had come down through the bottom of the control arm. So you can see it here on top of the new one. And the new one comes with new bushings on either side and a new ball joint. So all I'm going to do is sit this back in here, bolt it in place, and I'll show you that process as it goes. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm changing this bumper. See the bumper? It doesn't, the control arm, the new one doesn't come with a bumper. So I'm just taking these out. These are 12mm bolts on this car, one on either side, and I'm just going to change that bumper over to the new control arm. Okay, so I got the lower control arm set up in the frame, and I got the bolts started. See here, and I've got the other end put in here, and the bolts started on the end. I'm just going to tighten those in, and before I get those snug right down, I'm going to fit the ball joint up into the knuckle. Okay, we'll get that done in a bit. Okay, so I got the lower control arm mounted loosely, and I prepped the hole in here. I used some emery cloth, and I cleaned up that hole. Now, as you can see, I've just started the top of that spindle sticking out of the ball joint up into that knuckle. So I've got to get it up far enough so that that through bolt will sit in that groove, and that's what retains the ball joint in the knuckle. Okay, so I've got that groove in the ball joint lined up with the hole here. And I've got the bolt. So I'm going to feed the bolt in from the other side. And there it comes. And then there's a lock washer. And then there's the nut. Okay. Then I get that tightened down, and we just about got it.